Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. If you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he is the well-known money guru. You probably already know that if you clicked on this video. We have some strong opinions of Dave Ramsey. I will say that he has changed our mindset a lot about money. He's changed our mindset about debt payoff, and that's the whole reason we're trying to pay off our house in 5 years right now. But he can be a little condescending in his tone as he talks to his followers or his viewers. If you're not following his plan exact, it kind of just gives you that tone, and he lets you know, well, we say to do XYZ, you're not doing that. We've seen a lot of different videos that he's put on his channel, on his YouTube channel, and his other personalities or his sidekicks will answer some of the calls as well and talk about how you have to do exactly this or exactly that. And we notice a lot that he talks about how he's been doing the same thing for 30 years. It's been working for 30 years, and that's great, but times change over the course of 30 years. And to say you have to do exactly the same thing every single time, it's not going to apply all the time. What worked in 1990 may not work in 2020.
Dave's advice is really kind of a one-size-fits-all, but it doesn't apply to everyone. That's why they call it personal finance. It's based on you and your household and what works best for you. We like to take bits and pieces from his plan. We don't follow everything to the T, and we just simply don't agree with everything he says. And like she said, he can be condescending when you don't agree with him or you want to do things a certain way. So we don't like that about him. Other people may like that about him because it works for them, but like I said, it's personal finance.
So you may wonder how we know the opinions of some of his followers or why we think that they could be brainwashed. There is a Facebook group that he has that is for Dave Ramsey followers. And a lot of times people will go on there asking questions, or they might be new to Dave Ramsey, or they might just have watched him for a little bit. They'll ask questions. A lot of times people will answer those questions based off of, well, what would Dave Ramsey say? Another thing that Dave Ramsey often talks about is if you're not married, you should be paying on your significant other's debt. He says you shouldn't split bills. And if you live together and you're not married, he says you basically shouldn't even do that. So a little bit of a religious standpoint, if you don't know already, or if you don't know Dave Ramsey, he is very religious, which we have absolutely no issue with, but it shines through a lot of his beliefs. And a lot of times his religious beliefs overshadows his financial beliefs. And so then that's why he tells people that if you guys aren't married, then you're just roommates. You're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Here's a comment that someone asked in the group talking about what they should do regarding the car insurance that they split with their significant other. And what is the very first comment that someone says? It should be separate unless you're married. So that's what I mean when I say that a lot of times the religious beliefs overshadow the financial advice, and anyone who listens to him automatically just feels like he knows exactly what he's talking about. The stuff that he has said has worked for so many people. So if you don't believe that, then as you can see in the comments on our last video about Dave Ramsey, people were calling us broke because we were saying things that we didn't agree with him on.
Ramsey followers can be kind of cultish when you go against whatever he says. So if obviously we don't agree with everything he says, for people who want to do things their own way and not follow his advice, they can come after them and be condescending in the comments and do all kinds of things like that. It just shows that kind of cult vibe they give off. And for example, Dave only recommends mutual funds for investing for your retirement, and a certain 4 types of mutual funds. And I had mentioned something about the S&P 500 and investing in that, and my comment got deleted, and it said I went against the rules for the group. So it's just things like that that show that it's kind of a cult vibe.
Yeah, literally the rules of the group show, one of the rules of the group is that you can't say anything that's not related to what Dave Ramsey believes. So I've been in this group since about 2018. You might ask, if we don't like the group, why are we in it? It's because there's a lot of good stuff in there, like good ideas, side hustles. Like if you've seen our other video, you know that we do use credit cards. And a long time ago, back when I was naive and didn't know the ways of this group, I had mentioned something regarding credit cards and just using them for rewards points. And I got on like a week-long suspension. I literally couldn't post in this group for a week. I was in timeout for talking about credit card points and how you could use the stuff that you're already going to purchase on a credit card and get points. I feel really bad for people when they call into Dave Ramsey and they're really just looking for true financial advice, and they have the financial mindset and they're good and they have a lot going on as far as where they want to go with their finances, but they call into Dave and Dave just tells them it has to be either this or nothing, and you literally can't do anything else or else you're not going to have financial wealth. Like, it's just not true. There was a video recently where someone was talking about how they have a little bit more money in the bank besides the $1,000 that you're supposed to have whenever you're paying off your debt. They want you to have $1,000 and that's it. And sure, there's a lot of people who can't save up $1,000 and it might seem like a lot of money, but there's others who want to have that cushion and they want to have more than $1,000. But if you have more than $1,000 in the bank and you call into them and you have any type of debt, they're going to tell you, write a check today, get rid of all that extra money. And it's just not realistic, because this person who had called in, they talked about how their husband was injured, they weren't making as much money as usual.
Do you guys have any money saved anywhere?
We do. We have about 4,000 saved. I'm not comfortable going down to 1,000 saved to put it towards the car loan, just how expensive everything is right now.
Why?
Oh, just because, I don't know, if anything were to happen.
I just like to tell someone that they can't have more than $1,000 in the bank, and some people just blindly listen to whatever they say. It could really put you in a financial bind. That's how you end up getting back in debt and starting the cycle all over again, is because you didn't have enough money in savings and now you have to go into debt to get something, whether that be to pay for bills, whatever. So if you're someone who watches Dave Ramsey or is thinking about listening to Dave Ramsey, everyone just needs to have their own mindset and think for themselves. And you could take the advice of Dave Ramsey, but also say, okay, what actually is going to work for me, and not just whatever this guy is telling me to do, because if not, then that means I'm broke or I'm never going to be able to have a $1 million net worth.
And there was another caller who called into the Ramsey show recently, and he has an income of about $210,000 a year. This guy had 2 car loans between him and his wife. One car was about $24,000. The other one was in the $70,000 range. And, as typical Ramsey personalities, they told him to deplete all his savings except for that $1,000 so he could pay off one car and put a big dent in the other car. And they mentioned that this was going to be a temporary fix, like the $1,000 is not meant to be forever. It's meant to be temporary while you're getting out of debt. But they didn't take into account that, like right now with all the tech layoffs going on, he could lose his job tomorrow and not have an income and just be stuck with that $1,000. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to just tell people this one-size-fits-all approach to saving money and paying off debt. Everyone has what they're comfortable with, and for him, just $1,000 wouldn't be enough. And I agree, for most people, $1,000 isn't enough.
Dave Ramsey's approach to credit scores is that eventually you want your credit score to be undeterminable. Everyone in America knows that in order to get just about anything done, the company is going to look at your credit score. Dave Ramsey believes that a credit score is only to get into debt, which is false. It's also if you want to rent an apartment. It's if you want to get a utility bill, look at your credit score. If just even anything. There has been people talking about, not only in the Facebook group that we were talking about, but even in our comment section on our last video, talking about how they try to go the route that Dave Ramsey suggests, which is to make sure that your credit score is non-existent, and then use manual underwriting to purchase a house, a home. And manual underwriting is when they're looking at other things other than a credit score, such as bills, and if you pay your bills on time, how much money you have in the bank, et cetera, et cetera. But there's been multiple people talking about how it didn't work for them. They contacted this company that Dave Ramsey suggests, and they were unsuccessful, or the company decided that it wasn't going to work out, or whatever the situation was. That can really mess you up. What if you want to buy a house someday and you have no credit score, but Dave Ramsey said all you have to do is do manual underwriting. So I definitely think that it could be something that ends up really hurting someone. Yes, it just sounds so easy. All you have to do is just do manual underwriting, but it's really not that easy. Again, I say, if you're going to listen to someone else, even if it's anyone, any type of financial person out there, think for yourself as well. Don't just blindly take anybody's advice, because you never know where it could end you up. One of the recent posts in the Dave Ramsey group, someone was asking about high yield savings accounts. And if you haven't already seen my high yield savings account video, that will be linked down below. But someone was asking about what bank accounts or savings accounts out there have high yield savings. And everyone's suggesting ones out there. There's a lot out there. And someone had said 2 different banks, which was Ally and American Express. And one person on this thread kept talking about, and I really just didn't understand if they really knew what the person was saying, that these are savings accounts, they're not credit cards. Because of course, if you mention anything credit card, people are going to jump on you. Basically saying Dave Ramsey says that you cannot get a savings account with any company that also offers a credit card, because they're going to then try to entice you into getting a credit card. And it's really crazy, and it's very ironic, because the one bank that this individual was okay with us getting a savings account with was called Lending Club. And I'm like, just listen to what you're saying. You're saying that you can't get a savings account with this bank or that bank because they have credit cards. But Lending Club, it's okay. It just goes for what I keep saying, y'all. Think for yourself. Have your own mindset. Just because Dave Ramsey says this doesn't mean you have to do it. As I said earlier, sometimes Dave Ramsey's religious beliefs overshadows his financial advice. We saw a video online with someone who said they had an interview with a big financial guru in Tennessee. And it got a little crazy because the individual basically spoke about how when interviewing, the interviewer said that they don't want the people working at this company to have sex before marriage.
She basically says, we believe that our employees should not have sex before marriage. Is that something that you agree with? I'm like jaw on the floor, completely just like flabbergasted. Like, how did you just ask me this? And I respond by saying, I don't think that's something that my work needs to know. I just said, I'm not sharing that information. Tell me this isn't discrimination, because then she goes, would you agree that you're not a good fit? It was giving cult. It was giving like, you cannot disagree or you're out. And it's just insane.
So it's a little too much. Also, one of the Ramsey personalities that we used to like, his name was Chris Hogan. What happened to Chris Hogan?
With Chris Hogan, he ended up having an extramarital affair, and they fired him for that. So we don't see how that's any of their business. Like, that's his own personal life, his own personal mistake. It has nothing to do with his job performance or anything. They just take something from your private life and decide that that's the reason you shouldn't work there anymore. So that kind of shows how his company is, and I know I wouldn't want to work there personally. I know a lot of people have a lot to say about how we feel about Dave Ramsey in certain aspects. So I'd like to hear more of your thoughts. So go ahead and comment down below and let us know what you think about this.
I just want to reiterate that Dave has definitely changed our mindset when it comes to money. We only followed a few things of what he suggests. We didn't do it strictly, as you can tell. But the main thing is just having your own mindset, doing what works for you. Don't let someone else make you feel guilty about that or little because you're not doing exactly what they tell you to do. And there are a lot of people in this world who have built wealth without following every single thing that Dave Ramsey does. Well, everyone, thank you for watching. Please comment down below, let us know what you think, and we'll see you in our next video.